Hello viewers, welcome back to another video. Today this video will be different. Instead of making a gameplay video which shows the performance of the game, I wanted to make something different. I wanted to try one of my old graphics card with my current PC setup. So I chose the AMD 290x. I bought it in 2013 for around £300. I can't quite remember the actual price, but it has served me flawlessly since I bought it, right up until the end of 2018 when I bought my AMD Vega 64. The hypothetical scenario here is if my 1600 XT died, would my 290x be able to fill the competitive void until I got a new card? So the games I'll be testing here today are Warzone, Apex Legends, PUBG, and finally Fortnite. I don't really play Fortnite much, but it's okay for the odd session. I'll be testing them at various settings at 1080p mainly, but also 1440p and 3200 x 1800 resolution, which on the box it does state 4K resolution, but it doesn't go up to that much. But obviously you can upscale past that if you like, but I'm not going to do that today. So I headed over to the AMD website to download the latest drivers for the graphics card, which are the 21.5.2 drivers, which were released last year, 21st of June 2021. So they've not been updated since then, so it may have a few issues with compatibility. So here we are with the first test on Warzone at 1080p, lowest settings on Rebirth Islands. As you can see, the frame rates aren't good at the moment, dropping in quite high frame time, but it soon picks up once I've landed on the floor, straight up onto the roof, trying to get a bit of quiet time, really, just trying to get a feel for the game. The FPS is around 70 to 100 mark, which is not too bad, but it's the lowest settings. I were expecting a little bit better, but this card is approaching 10 years old, so we can't expect fantastic performance. So overall, not much stuttering. It's quite stable actually, which was quite surprising. But overall, quite happy with the performance on the lowest settings, because even my 1600 XT doesn't get amazing performance at lowest settings, so it could be AMD related or it could be the game related.
Squad member is redeploying. Learn from that.
Here we are, testing it at 1080p medium settings, still on Rebirth. Just want to make sure I test it thoroughly. The frame rates are slightly lower than at the lowest settings, but it's still quite decent actually, which surprised me. I thought there was going to be a big drop in performance, seeing as though it's got quite low VRAM, but obviously I'm in a bit of an enclosed area at the moment, not really outside, but it's performing quite nicely.
Enemy soldiers nearby.
So yeah, just trying to kill that guy there. Look, shooting at the door for no reason, but yeah, it's between 60 and 100 FPS, so not much different from the lowest settings.
Enemy UAV active.
There's an LMG.
Got some extra cash here.
Gas is right on your tail. You outmaneuvered the enemy trackers. Clever sneaks.
Ain't no time to bleed. Come on.
So here we are, we're going to test it at the highest possible settings, staying at 1080p. The frame rates have dropped by about 15 to 20 frames per second, maybe a little bit more, but still very playable, around the 60 FPS mark so far indoors. It's dropping down a little bit there to 48, not too bad. You can see the frame times on the left has been taking quite a hit in certain areas, but still holding up quite well. It's quite solid actually. Just in a firefight here, yeah, it's dropping down to low 40s, and straight back up again, which is not really ideal if you're going to use a car like this for competitive gameplay, but those issues weren't there at lowest settings, so we can tell straight away that this is not the settings to be used with this graphics card. So medium settings are probably fine, but I'd definitely choose lowest settings available. Maybe tweak one or two just to make it look a little bit nicer, but overall it still looks quite decent even at the lowest settings.
Troops in contact.
Your way. One of your allies is back in the game.
Setting a charge.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Reinforcements are on the way. Contact!
So we're going to up the resolution to 1440p, drop the settings all the way down to the lowest possible options, just so we can get some playable frame rates. Here we are trying to kill that guy. That's succeeding very well. At least it's taken down. So the frame rates are actually quite good still, 60 to 70 frames so far. Obviously it's not a big island, so it's not to look at, not a big play area, so but there's quite a lot of action. The frame times it's still pretty solid, still taking a hit here and there, but it's still holding its own. So if you're going to choose 1440p, highly advised to keep it at the lowest settings just so you can keep it above 60 frames per second most of the time. It will drop down here and there, but still very playable.
Resurgence is about to end. Keep your head on a swivel. Fire sales done. Prices are back to normal. Enemy dropping into the AO. You've got gas moving in.
Grab that armor, will you?
Enemy cluster strike. Watch your heads. Allied precision airstrike.
So we're going to test it at 1440p highest settings just for benchmark's sake, just to see how it performs. Just here alone we're getting to 30 to 40 frames per second, which is not ideal for any sort of competitive gameplay, especially in a battle royale game on Rebirth. So you want to be avoiding the highest settings wherever possible. If you want to take some screenshots, that's fine, but try and turn whatever you can off just to get those extra frame rates.
KIA. Keep fighting until they redeploy.
Take down the hostile spotted.
allies is back in the game. Enemy UAV active.
Acknowledge waypoint coordinates. Hostile.
Only 25 left. Keep moving forward.
Grenade out!
One of your allies is back in the game.
Moving on, shooter.
And finally, we're going to test it at 4K lowest settings. Not actual full 4K though, it's 3200 by 1800. That's the max it will allow to go. Obviously, with upscaling, you can achieve 4K or anything higher than that, but I'm not going to do that. So you can see the frame rate's actually not too bad, but obviously it's lowest settings. If you had anything higher than that, then the frame rates will just be bordering on the unplayable. So just stick to lowest settings, but don't go to this resolution. There's not really any need for it. I've just done it just for the video.
Allied precision airstrike incoming. Be aware.
Dropping ammo. You need this.
Enemy UAV active. Enemy dropping into the AO. Enemy movement. Gas is moving. Reinforcements are on the way. Maybe return to the front line.
Shacked up.
But if you lose,
So I'll be testing it on Caldera now. 1080p low settings first, starting from the gulag here, look, trying to win something, trying to kill somebody. I'm not being very good at it. Still can't get it. There we are. So in the gulag itself, it performs quite well. Nothing amazing. You want it, if you want a competitive frame rate, you want it to be 120 to 144 minimum, just to match your monitor's refresh rate. Here we are dropping in. As you can see, this is the lowest settings. It looks absolutely shocking. I mean, what are those textures? The frame rates are good, but the textures not so good. So I would advise to up the texture quality just by 1, just to make it a bit more appealing. 1080p lowest settings, medium settings and highest settings. The footage will be coming one after the other, so if you want to just check that out, I'm not going to keep talking over each one when the results are similar, with varying results with the frame rates, but all in all it's quite a similar experience. So if you want to click on the timestamps, and then if you want to click on the timestamps, then feel free to check those out.
Enemy soldier nearby. Win here and you return to the battlefield. Lose and your fight is over. Fight your... You're going back to the front line. Great work. Loadout drop inbound. Enemy UAV active. You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. You're in the gulag now. Survive to earn redeployment. Time for a fight. You can taunt your enemy with words, or rocks. I prefer rocks. Your teammate was broken. They're no longer with us. The fight begins. Boys, you're up next. Ready up. Fight your way out and you return to the front line. Lose and you're finished. It's time, soldier. You show no weakness. Stand by for redeployment.
Take care.
Hostile spotted.
I'll ride along.
Most wanted one. Let's hit them.
You're losing ground. Move it.
So we're going to play some Apex Legends. First of all, I need to mention the menu. At highest settings, it really doesn't like the menu and the loading screen when you're picking your Legends. So yeah, I had to immediately change the settings. This is at the highest settings, but the texture streaming down to 4 GB. Just obviously it's a 4 GB graphics card, which makes it much more stable. So you can see that the frame rate's actually quite good. This game is known for being really well optimized and most systems can perform on it. This being quite an old graphics card, it's still struggling a little bit, but the performance is acceptable. I've definitely seen worse. I can still move around quite smoothly. The frame times are stable, there's no sudden drops here and there, which does make it a lot easier. My teammates aren't making it easy for me though, but overall you can play at the highest settings. Just turn the texture streaming down to 4 GB. Probably recommend putting it to 2 GB just to keep the visual quality up a little bit.
I will assist you. Shields recharging. Light ammo, please. Need an energy ammo. Rejuvenating.
Taking a moment to heal.
Fancy a wee stroll this way. Healing up.
Taking a moment to recharge my shields. Copy that.
I'll be testing it at 1080p, all lowest settings, everything all the way to the bottom, just so I can see how it performs. And obviously the visual fidelity as well is actually quite good, even at the lowest settings. Yeah, you can see the blurry textures, but when you're moving around this fast, well, I'm not that fast, but when you're a quick seasoned Apex Legends player, the textures don't really matter, to be honest, as long as it's not Minecraft levels of detail. But yeah, turning the textures all the way down as well to 0, the texture streaming, sorry, it just makes the experience much better. You do have your drops here and there, nothing too major. You can definitely deal with it. It's nothing that can catch you off guard.
Reloading. Mayday. Crashing and burning over here. A broken enemy shield. Spotted. Double fire. Reloading. Take him down. On your feet, darling.
We got company.
Plenty of fight left in you. I'm out of heavy ammo.
Taking fire. Hold up. Healing. Give me a sec. Recharge your shield.
Shields recharging.
Charging on my shields. Contact. Hold up. Healing. Need light ammo. Throwing thermite. Throwing arc star. Oscar Mike. Spotted. Arc star. Enemy shield.
Enemy down.
So this is the final Apex Legends test at 1080p. It's all on lowest settings, but the texture streaming is up to 2GB just to improve the visuals, which it has done actually quite a lot. I can see why a lot of competitive players choose the 2GB streaming option, because it's not demanding on your graphics card, and it does actually quite drastically improve the visuals on the textures. So yeah, as you can see, the frame rates is very similar from the lowest settings, so I'd definitely recommend that setting to anyone that's possibly struggling with a graphics card who don't really know what settings to use. So just crank it all down to low, but texture streaming 2GB, maybe even turn it off completely depending if you got like 2GB graphics card itself. It might just push it a bit too far. But
I'm running out of ideas. Bamboozled. Administering medical aid.
Shoot at me. Need a wee rejuvenation.
Recharging shields. Subject spotted. Got one here. Using the decoy escape. Cracked us up.
Kids? Yeah, that's some pretty easy, Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We wiped the squad.
Recharging my shields. Just a tick. Healing up.
Kill leader eliminated.
So the third test of the day is PUBG. We're at DirectX 11, 1080p, lowest settings, or very low as it states in the in-game menu. And it does look very low as well. Looking at the floor and the doors, looks very blurry, but with most competitive games textures don't really matter too much. But for people like me, I like good looking games, especially if you've got higher end hardware. But lower end hardware like this graphics card, you don't have that luxury. So just crank the settings all the way down, and you'll get decent frame rates, as you can see from here. I just took this guy down, look, bless him. So yeah, achieving quite good frame rates, to be honest. This game definitely surprised me. It's a big map, not the most detailed maps ever, but definitely caught me off guard, and I thought they'd be in the low sort of 50-60 mark, but yeah, over 100 frames per second here most of the time. But just look at that bridge, beautiful looking blurry bridge. So yeah, if you're a PUBG player and you've still not got your center graphics card, even though they are coming down in price and you just don't have any money, 290x, look on eBay, try and get a Sapphire one like what I've got here, and then don't pay no more than £50 for it, and then you'll be all set until you can actually get a new graphics card. We're going to test it at medium settings now. As you can see, the performance is still quite high. The visual quality has jumped up quite a bit from very low, which is always nice. The frame rates is still between 70 and 105 or so, 110, depending where you are really. So definitely a good option to use medium if you can get that extra visual quality out of the game without compromising too much on the frame rate. So definitely something to think about, but I'm not going to say much about this one. It's just a solid experience overall. We're going to test it at 1080p ultra settings. We're up on these rocks, look very blurry. They don't look high textures to me, but yeah, all maximum settings. The frame rates are still above 60. You can see all the foliage and the grass and leaves and everything look really nice compared to the low settings. So for me, this is the preferred option. But if you're in a firefight like this, you need those extra frame rates to see you through. Make sure you can kill when you need to kill, and you're not bogged down with a few loss in frames. So on the final test for PUBG, it's 1440p at ultra settings. I avoided all the rest of the settings at 1440p. I weren't going to test it at this resolution, but I just wanted to just see what it was like. And it was quite good actually, 40 to 60 frames per second, sometime in the 30s. Definitely wouldn't choose this option for this graphics card, but it can produce some performance, but not enough, especially if you've got gunfire here, there and everywhere. So as you can see, the fidelity of the game looks really nice, but frame rates don't match it. So definitely avoid that one. Don't do what I'm doing here and trying to climb up an unclimbable rock like an absolute idiot. So go round and do the job. You can probably get better results, more consistent results if it's the same map, but obviously it was set to random, but you get the idea. I think all maps perform quite similar, so you can get a rough idea of what sort of performance we're looking at here. So this is the final Battle Royale test. We're on Fortnite. I'm playing at 1080p, ultra settings, DirectX 12. I learnt the hard way not to use DirectX 12 on this graphics card. Even though it's DirectX 12 capable, you'll find out in a moment why not to choose DirectX 12 with this graphics card on this game. So far, it's not performing too well. I think back in sort of the first year of the release of the game, you would have got probably double the frame rates, give or take. That's just off the top of my head, because I can remember this game performing on any system really. Obviously it's been updated many times since then, and obviously the performance has dropped quite a bit. So, but the visuals do look much better than what they used to. So as you can see, the frame time is not great on this game. It does have its moments where it's solid, and then other areas not so much. You can just keep dipping, dropping down, up and down, up and down. I found that with my current graphics card as well. A lot of people get the same issues as what I do, so it must be the game itself, but I could be wrong. So this is what I meant by not using DirectX 12. This is the lower settings I've used, and the frame rates are just as bad. So what I did, I tweaked the settings a little bit and put it to DirectX 12, loaded it back in, and put it to the ultra settings once again, and the performance is similar, but as you'll see in the video, as I use different settings, it just performs better overall. I think using DirectX 11 is definitely the way to go in this game, or if you can use the performance mode, even though the game looks terrible, then go for that one. this is the second to last test. I have performance mode enabled, so the visual fidelity should be massively reduced, like cartoony style. As you can see already from the blurry textures on the wings and the parachute, and you can see from the trees and the ground already, like there's no detailing whatsoever. But you look at the frame rates, up to 410 for a second, so it's a massive jump already. 285, 260, 360, so it's definitely a fantastic option to have. With my current graphics card, 1600 XT, it doesn't benefit from performance mode. It just seems to suffer more actually with frame time issues. As you can see though, the frame time is suffering just a little bit. There's no consistency, but the frame rates are fantastic, but you might actually suffer quite a little bit of stuttering here and there, so just be careful when using performance mode, that it could make things worse in certain areas. But overall, the frame rates are just a godsend for a graphics card like this. So, but then it drops to 70, so definitely some issues going on there. You go from 90% GPU usage to 15% to 1%. It's inconsistent in some areas, which hopefully they can fix in the future. But I think if I'm going to play Fortnite with this graphics card, I'll definitely use performance mode. So this is the final test. It's on medium settings, DirectX 11. I left this one till last because I won, so end the video on a high. So medium settings, DirectX 11, the performance is solid. If it were DirectX 12, then it would be a different story. So having DirectX 11 low or medium settings, I probably choose medium just so it looks a little bit nicer, and then your frame rates are still quite good. The frame times are good. Here I am, look, just trying to figure out where the last person is. Running around. Obviously it's a bot lobby, it's pretty obvious. I've killed 8 people. Usually I can't kill one. So I'm not going to take the victory away from myself, but you've got to be realistic as well. It's definitely a bot lobby. It's only Fortnite, and at days I don't take this game seriously. I use it for testing. It's quite a good game for benchmarking nowadays. With what they've done to it, they made it look nice. So I didn't intend to finish this game, but I did so well against the bots that I just had to finish what I started, and actually won a game. So let me know what you think of the video. Get a like or dislike, any suggestions. If you like this sort of video in general, of me talking and benchmarking the game. Thank you.